Hello, this is Kris Nelson from evolveconsciousness.org. I'll be reading the article published on the 22nd of October 2014 entitled Meditation, and this is my analysis and deconstruction of meditation. There's the introduction, descriptions of, quote, meditation, definition of meditation and its original purpose, etymology, further analysis on meditation, is altered meditation the number one thing, thought, psychological understanding, and true intelligence are largely untouched by meditation, left and right brain balance, addendum relating to meditation, thought and emotion. Introduction. I have more left brain leaning capabilities well developed, but the right brain modalities of consciousness are also functioning well, such as holistic thinking, pattern recognition, creative thought, imagination, care, compassion, empathy, conscience, morality, etc. Also, I didn't mention in the article that I do have an ability to draw, and it's just been a long time since I've drawn, but I used to draw when I was younger in high school. Alright, to continue. My assessment, analysis, and diagnosis of the popularized form of, quote, meditation is primarily based on indirect secondary experience and logical imagination to envision the reality of others' experience as described and based on the primary experience they have expressed themselves. So I'm going to understand what meditation is according to certain people who express their understandings of meditation, and then I'm going to show what meditation was in history and in etymology. I have only touched lightly in altered, quote, meditation many years ago and felt the feel-good, calming relaxation high, the best I have ever felt in my life in terms of being at peace and relaxed. No drug has ever been like that. I have not returned to it as the purpose did not seem high enough in my priorities. I wanted to expand my awareness of waking reality that we live in on the ground. I had other priorities to focus my active conscious awareness upon to evolve consciousness, which is what I call primary true meditation, contemplation, reflection, active in the development of intelligence and evolving consciousness. So it's active meditation because it involves active capacities of thought and actively evolving consciousness to go through your falsities and remove them. And you develop intelligence. This is active in the development of intelligence and evolving consciousness through psychological shadow inner work and the de-occulting of the reality we actually live in, not another dimension or realm. So you want to go remote view, astral project, meditate, talk to other entities and beings? Well, go ahead and waste your fucking time. This will be shown in the etymology later. Inner peace, feel good, calm, stillness, etc. is not a focus for me, as I don't have that much stress, turmoil, or interference to deal with. For those in inner turmoil or mental interference, the draw of secondary altered, quote, meditation to alleviate this unease can develop into an attachment through dependence in its calming effect. If you already consciously manage your life turmoil, energy level, or interference, you do not need altered forms of meditation to take you out of hyperactivity, hypertension, stress, depression, worry, and useless thoughts. You can dismiss the capabilities of consciousness I have evolved to understand altered meditation simply because I do not, quote, meditate your way every day, which is your choice to ignore the understanding I have gained through indirect experience. So you want to ignore everything I'm going to talk about? Go ahead. Just because I haven't meditated? Go ahead. Ignore how you're being manipulated through an inner feel-good state that prevents you from actually developing true intelligence and evolving consciousness through the de-occulting of reality and of yourself to go through the psychological inner shadow work and do inner work on yourself, which meditation does not do. Maybe certain forms of meditation do, but the standardized practice people engage in, that 99.99% of people engage in, does not do that. It's altered meditation and not true meditation. True meditation as in contemplation, reflection, introspection, and working on yourself. Many of the things we learn about is through secondary indirect experience, through television, movies, books, art, etc. We can speak of wars accurately, their evil, their manipulation, their deceptions, yet never having been in one. We can speak of the conception of government and its wrongs, yet never having worked in one. We can speak of the evils of slavery yet never having been an overt slave. We can speak of many things we have not done ourselves because we, as humans, have abstract capabilities in mind to understand things and experience them in a secondary imaginative capacity of the realm of mind, the inner world we can create. I have developed my skills to discern reality through dedication and effort to uncover the cognitive distortions and mind control that prevent me from accurate perception. I am able to describe an understanding of altered, quote, meditation as a result of knowing what it does and what purpose it serves in its use, as described by others who have used it more than myself. We have amazing mental powers and can come to understand things deeply while never having directly experienced what others describe to us from their own experience and conceptions. I can learn about a subject as experienced by others and understand what a thing is. I can understand what something is described to be, what others say about it, what they use it for, etc. I can do this for, quote, meditation. I will present information on meditation. Anyone can learn about other people's conceptions if they want to learn about it. It only takes time to read, contemplate, and understand what this concept of popular secondary, quote, meditation involves. People have expressed what they view as, quote, meditation and what it does for them, why they use it, etc. I will be describing what people view as their form of, quote, meditation they engage in, and how useful this actually is in the evolution of consciousness, in developing intelligence, morality, psychological integrity, and so-called, quote, spirituality. I judge things from myself, and the people describing, quote, meditation choose to represent their particular form of meditation and why they use it. Judge for yourself whether my analysis is accurate or not. Anything can be demonstrated by those already doing it. They represent what they are doing. Meditators represent the effectiveness of their particular form of meditation. For altered meditation, when I look to see its benefits and what it provides, I look to what other people have to say about it and what it has done for them, to them, and how they act and think about things as a result of their form of, quote, meditation being engaged in. This section is Descriptors of Meditation. Wikipedia refers to various forms of meditation and its purpose in general, such as healing, feeling good, calmness, stillness, but their etymological breakdown is simplistic and lacking. Here is a part, read more if you wish. Meditation is a practice in which an individual trains the mind or induces a mode of consciousness either to realize some benefit or as an end in itself. To realize a benefit, calmness, stillness, feeling good, healing, or as an end in itself, you just do it for meditation. And I'd say again, that's for an end in itself would be for feel good, because that's what it brings you. The term meditation refers to a broad variety of practices, much like the term sports, that includes techniques designed to promote relaxation, build internal energy or life force, ki, prana, etc., and develop compassion, love, patience, generosity, and forgiveness. A particularly ambitious form of meditation aims at effortlessly sustained single-point concentration meant to enable its practitioner to enjoy an indestructible sense of well-being while engaging in any life activity. So that's self-inducing a feel-good state of happiness. And I've written notes about this before on people who seem to be always happy, but in a normal case, emotions come from stimulus. You are not in pain for no reason, and you're not in pleasure for no reason. There's always a stimulus. There's something happening. A thought, an idea, a concept can make you feel good about yourself. Pleasurable chemicals or foods or touch, can make you feel good. There's also pain. You can eat something, it can give you stomach pain. You can get smacked with a bat in the face and you'll feel pain. When you're sad, it's because there's a stimulus. You're just going to be sad for no reason? Well, then you're subconsciously being affected by something that you're not consciously aware of in reality. And you're sad. The same thing for happiness. Emotions are responses to the environment. They are affects on us. They are affect. We are affected by reality, by other people, by anything in reality, and we, in turn, use thoughts, emotions to generate an effect, an affect, on reality, which then affects the effect affects reality. We produce an effect in reality, and that effect affects reality. And then in turn, reality affects us. So that's why I have the circle of life, the wheel of life, infographic on causality, consciousness, trivium, because it is a circle, because we output into reality and then reality inputs into us. So it's all, that's an easier way to understand the collective karma. Is the 7 billion of us are doing this. Well, that's collective karma. We all generate and then we all reap what we all put out. And we're in different geographical locations, so the intensity of feedback and the conduction, the induction, or the conduction or the insulation of our reaping is different according to different constructs of reality and systemic living that we live in. So like first world versus third world countries, etc. So my point is, people who are happy all the time, an indestructible sense of well-being while engaging in any life activity, I don't understand how you self-induce yourself into a state of happiness. Like, these emotions are supposed to fluctuate as far as I'm concerned, and it's based on stimulus. Things happen, you get joy, and then time fades, and that stimulus, well, okay, and then more stimulus happens, and you're back to just a normal, just a normal living. You're not sad, but you're not super ecstatic with joy either. Why would you be super ecstatic with joy for nothing? So that's why I've called this a self-induced state, where if you're always in a positivity mask and an optimism bias, then you're always happy. But why? So I view it personally as a self-induced state of an optimism bias and a positivity mask, where you make yourself feel happy and good, even though there's nothing from the environment, there's no stimulus providing you with that state. So rather than just be, just normal, because emotions are supposed to fluctuate, they're supposed to be our indicators for our reality, our environment, where we live, how we live. You're not supposed to be in a constant emotional state. You're supposed to fluctuate. The balance is when, so you can look at it as a positive above and negative emotions below. So it looks like a sine wave, and it goes up and down, but when you're not experiencing the up and you're not experiencing the down, you're just at a level. You're just, it's just normal. And then when something happens, stimulus, well then your emotional state changes. But to self-induce a feel-good, well-being state, I do not view that as beneficial for true intelligence and evolving consciousness. And you got all these swamis and everybody who talking about meditation and all this. I view it as pseudo-spiritual bullshit, because they still don't give a shit about the animals. They're still stuck in attachments to feel-good crap that's not getting anywhere. But they want to believe it is and convince other people it is. But no, don't go discern reality correctly. Don't discern yourself correctly. Don't understand how your consciousness functions. No, whatever you do, just keep meditating and that'll make the world all better. Yeah. Keep engaging in evil. Keep harming beings that you have no right to harm, that did you no harm. Yeah, keep doing that and keep meditating, and things are going to fix themselves, you fucking idiots. And they are idiots. Ooh, I give myself a title, some Eastern spiritual title. Yippity-doo-dah. Yippity-doo-dah. To continue. This page mentions the aspect of quieting, silencing, stillness, calming, meditation that most people think of, and its reason for use, that of an undisciplined mind. If your mind is well developed without altered quote meditation, you do not need altered quote meditation to do what you are already doing. You don't need meditation to discipline your mind if you're already in a disciplined mind, which is what I have developed. So yeah, people who have thoughts flying around and useless crap in their minds, thinking about bullshit, well, go ahead and use meditation. I would say learn to consciously process yourself in reality in order to, in waking conscious awareness, not have that bullshit going through your mind. I've done it. I never use meditation. Now, some people feel they need to use meditation because they have not developed their cognitive capacities of contemplation and reflection and introspection themselves. Oh, so they need meditation to quiet their mind, get rid of the thoughts, silence and stillness and calming, so they don't think about the stupid crap they think about, that they worry about, that doesn't matter at all. Here's a quote from another site. Is meditation escapism? Meditation is about becoming holy in the world and quieting the incredible static of the undisciplined mind. The point is to be able to control what the mind is doing. If it's time to work, work. If it's time to spend time with loved ones, then that's what you can do. If it's time to sleep, don't toss around in bed all day. Actually be able to sleep. If it's time to be creative, then brainstorm away. So it's a healing tool if you need to use the healing tool. And if you don't have these imbalances where you can't work because you're thinking of crap, you can't do something that you want to do because you're thinking of crap, you can't fall asleep because you're thinking of crap, well then maybe you can use meditation to help figure out how to get rid of these problems where you're thinking of crap. Or you can actually figure it out consciously. Conscious awareness. True meditation. Then I have, this is Mark Passio's walk and talk video describing contemplation and altered meditation. So the interviewer has an accurate, simple description of meditation as it truly is. Seeing reality as it is, not as we want it to be. That is the true purpose of real authentic meditation, to align perceptions with reality truth. Hence, thinking, contemplation, reflection, introspection, to look at your own subjective inner reality and see how much in alignment or how in disunity and disalignment and disintegrated it is with actual reality. So then you need to align your perceptions, you need to correct your thinking, you need to correct your conceptions and align how you view reality with how reality actually is. Altered meditation does not do that. If your altered form of, quote, meditation is not doing the things contemplation, reflection, and pondering do, then it is not in line with the true purpose of meditation and not helping you evolve consciousness, which is to understand the reality we live in more accurately, not other realities we don't live in, like many people waste their time on discovering. Hence, astral projection, remote viewing, and channeling and talking to other entities. Altered forms of, quote, meditation can be used to heal aspects of self that need healing in order to perceive our reality accurately, but they are not required. As Mark says, it is to get out of imbalanced left brain modalities, but if overdone, can get you to the polarized opposite imbalance into right brain modalities. And that's what I talked about in the left and right brain audio, and heart and mind. People on Facebook who meditate and they believe that they're balanced, but they're so imbalanced, and they don't understand that the only use for meditation really is when you have the primary use in terms of balancing the brain. Why you use meditation to balance the brain is when you are in those extreme left brain imbalances. Meditation can help you heal. So if you're not in those extreme left brain imbalances, just like if you don't have an undisciplined mind and your mind is disciplined, then you do not need to use meditation. This paper has a good description of the accurate purpose that forms of, quote, meditation can potentially bring one to accomplish. So Sita is programmable, and Sita is pretty much mind and consciousness. Anyways, I'll read the quote. Sita is programmable. Yoga is a process of the ... is different parts in the PDF, and you can read it. So Sita is programmable. ... Yoga is a process of terminating the habitual activities which have been seen to be painful. So you're going to introspect, and you're going to recognize the activities that are negative and harmful for your own being, and you're going to seek to remove them. This is alchemy. Removing the impurities, removing the shadow, demon, darkness, evil, immorality, and wrong. ... Nirodha is the force that continuously purifies Sita. to override the complex programming of self-preservation and survival all the mechanisms an individual has developed to seemingly preserve security, repeat pleasure, avoid pain, and deny an inevitable death of one's body. So this is our attachment to our lower selves, self-preservation and survival, and this is the complex programming of self-preservation and survival is what I talked about in an audio I did yesterday on good and evil in being, and this relates to lower order consciousness in animals where they're mostly stuck in self-preservation and survival modalities without a higher order capacity to execute free will and understanding morality more deeply, even though some of them can express aspects of moral care for other beings. It's not as developed as the capacity within humans to do such. Although humans have even greater capacity than animals to do even more evil and survival, self-preservation, horrors, and evil on the planet than any other animal and all animals combined. Humans have the greatest capacity for evil on this planet. So this is the ego personality identity construct, the lower self. I have an article on that, on self-knowledge barriers, part 4a, ego personality identity attachment. So this is the lower self, where we're attached to our self-preservation survival, and we're just concerned with preserving our security and repeating pleasure and avoiding pain and fear of death. So it's all about surviving and the pleasure and avoiding pain. So again, the pleasure trap. So again, the ego personality identity construct. The lower self is focused on feeling good about themselves, enjoying life, having fun, following your bliss, etc., etc., etc. It's not about developing an understanding of truth and morality so that you can understand that that represents your true self, of who we are as a higher self, a true self that we all are. And then you'll get rid of your the fear of death or the denial of death. Since yoga is the process of consciously terminating activities, viti, which define and limit sita, this process results in the experience of sita in a purer and purer condition. So you go in yourself, you do some contemplation, some thinking, some reflection, some pondering, some introspection. You go within yourself and you consciously choose, willfully consciously choose, to terminate those things that you recognize do no longer serve you and limit sita, limit your consciousness and mind capacity. And then as you remove those things, you terminate those impurities, you remove the shadow, demon, darkness, evil, immorality, and wrong from yourself, well, what happens is you experience of sita in a purer and purer condition. So the true self, the consciousness, the soul, is more quote connected or more embodied. More aspects of the transcendental aspects of being are embodied within you. And you, instead of being a lower self, you detach from your ego personality identity attachment, the construct, and you detach from all the lower aspects of lower base consciousness, and you try to attach to the true self, and you attach to truth and morality so that you can evolve consciousness and become a better being. So I found this PDF to speak what I say, but using it in different words, and this is what meditation is really about. Sita, which is mind, consciousness, soul, the capacity, the energy source for you to even experience reality as a unit of consciousness that allows you to understand reality more accurately, because reality is truth, and the true self will help you understand, will accept reality as it is, and the false self will try to desperately grasp onto feel-good and deceptions that allow them to believe whatever they want so that they can maintain their position, their worldview position, their self-image, their sense of self, the sense of reality, the image of reality, the worldview, and preserve themselves in that structure so that they can continue to survive as they currently are surviving. Because differences, imagination, things changing is a possible detriment to survival for people who lack imagination and lack understanding of reality and are attached to their current way of living. They have trouble detaching from it. Alright, to continue, that says it right there: to face the shadow and heal. I did this without altered quote meditation. Some people who do altered quote meditation, still can't do this correctly. That is, the facing the shadow and healing when the truth is presented. That is why I say true meditation is contemplation, reflection, pondering, thinking, as is its true meaning from etymology. This is how you come to be a vegan after living a life of carnism since birth, because you realize that you were wrong, you were duped, and you were tricked, and you realize what the truth is, and then you align with that truth and morality, which is the true self. The form of meditative practice described above is akin to alchemy, which is what much of my major work talks about. I searched for meditation from Sanskrit, and the above PDF came up when I searched in Google. It describes my previous understanding of true meditation well. If you are already doing this process, then you are using meditation, contemplation, reflection, etc., the true source of meaningful self-work. The altered form of meditations are less conducive to this work immediately, but can be brought to aid the primary true meditation. Because you can use the altered secondary form to bring you to use the true form. After you use the secondary form to heal, then you'll be able to use the proper thinking and contemplation capacities. And also, you can also use the primary true meditation within the secondary altered meditation. So you can go into a state, an inner state, and then use concentration and focus on things. But I still view the active form as more beneficial. Here is a page detailing some pitfalls of altered meditation, such as the psychological self-work limitations and possible damaging effects that can result, so be cautious. Bill Jocelyn has practiced several forms of meditation, of altered meditation, and presented an analysis of it here. And I have a link to the video. And I'll also read my comment on Jocelyn, because he's a bit of an idiot. Sorry to offend anyone. I don't care. Why is he an idiot? I will demonstrate. Bill Jocelyn said this process of dissociation is largely negative. That's why he's an idiot. Because this process of dissociation through meditation, where it leads to identifying with animals and other people as self. And for him, that's a false empathy in his mind, it seems. But it's not a negative, but a positive if done correctly. Dissociation is required. You need to dissociate from falsity. You need to dissociate from who you're not and associate to identify with other things like you, like other people and other animals. But in his presentation, he was saying that this is, along with Jan Irvin, another moron, that this was all a negative, and the meditation and the identification with others beyond you is a deception. The dissolution, disintegration, de-identification, dissociation from ego personality identity serves what purpose? Why do it? It's about becoming consciously aware of the false constructs of self you have based your identity upon and letting them go. You learn what your attachments are, recognize them, and then let go of false attachments. You have to drop the desires, wants, wishes, and attachments in your life and discern if they are actually good for you and others or not. It is rebuilding your identity based on truth and morality if done correctly. You let go of all the bullshit, superfluous distractions in your life so that you can be more of the true self that lives in truth, right, good, morality, natural law, etc. But it seems that if you spend your life focusing on many, many different forms of meditation, you'll never actually understand alchemy and what this is all about. You'll never understand self-transformation. Then you get focused in meditation and how it's false and corrupting people's minds, and then you engage in idiocy of the polar opposite dynamic, and then you go for, well, therefore meditation's useless and everything in it is wrong here, 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 here. And so dissociation is a negative. So you dissociate from yourself to identify and associate more universally with other people and other animals, and he saw that as a negative because it's all a manipulation in your subjective reality, in your mind. He doesn't understand alchemy. He doesn't understand how to change yourself, how to change your ego personality identity construct that serves your lower self and bullshit and falsity and evil and immorality. So it's an interesting presentation on aspects of meditation and pitfalls, but you have to actually have a discerning mind in order to understand what he's talking about and where he's failing, where he's falling short in his analysis. Next section is definition of meditation and its original purpose. Everything I have read and experienced about the altered form of, quote, meditation has not drawn me into it. I was drawn into it in my earlier days of initial awakening into the falsity of secondary reality, when I was focused on the powers of the mind and body, superpowers, other realms, remote viewing, astral, etc. I just want to make a note that when you are in that modality, it is based in ego. It is based in selfish attainment of power. You want to have superpowers. You want to be special. Again, ego, feel-good attachment. Just like conceptions that make you feel good, people want to believe in them because they make them feel good. It gives them a sense of self-importance, being special, of having a unique position within the universe. That they're unique and special in their worldview. The sense of reality. That's what superpowers, other realms, remote viewing, astral, etc., all these powers, telekinesis and precognition and all that. It's all about being special. You want to be special, you want to have more than other people, you want to be powerful, etc. It's all ego. I was there. Well, it was in my first year, so that was 8 years ago. Now, none of that interests me, honestly. I see what meditation has done to other people, despite the benefits of its proper use when you need it to heal. So yes, there are proper uses of meditation, but from what I've seen of people who've been pushing meditation, all I've seen are negatives from them in their expressions of consciousness and how it's screwed up their own consciousness. It seems people can easily get mesmerized and infatuated with this inner state modality of being, and it inhibits their higher order intelligence development in many cases, keeping them in this attachment to, quote, meditation as a solution when they fail to actively develop consciousness in relation to the external world and occulted aspects of reality, truth, and morality. Everyone I have met who promotes the outstanding must-do benefits of altered, quote, meditation has only demonstrated to me their inability to develop the courage to face the mirror honestly, and of the real inner shadow work to evolve and better themselves through contemplation, reflection, true meditation. They are so attached to, quote, meditation, without realizing it, that they fail to discern right from wrong, and if they can discern accurately, they don't care enough to actualize that rightness into their lives. Meditation ends up becoming an escapism from dealing with hard-to-face truths. I have seen this happen with the hard-to-face truth of morality and animals that is inherent in veganism. Altered, quote, meditation does not bring you more critical thinking to help you navigate this reality. Overdependence on altered, quote, meditation will affect the ability to properly develop logical analytical capabilities, reducing comprehension of actual reality in favor of emergence into altered secondary realities through perceptual changes in internal states of awareness. Monks meditate for hours each day for years, immersing themselves in another internal reality, not interacting with the grounded reality. It is mass delusion at this level of immersion, yet people buy into it thinking that is what spirituality means. This is mind control through extreme right brain imbalance, much like other extreme imbalances related to the left brain. There is a difference between what meditation actually does and what the big pushers say of how great altered, quote, meditation allegedly is and what you think, quote, meditation does. I quote the word, quote, meditation because the form of, quote, meditation people adhere to is not the original meaning of the word. It is an altered definition from the original definition for an altered state of consciousness from the original productive state of active conscious awareness. This altered state is to be used as a tool as needed, with its most efficient use as a healing tool for emotional and well-being issues, or to develop greater awareness of care through an understanding of the similarity of consciousness in other beings. So you understand? You develop your heart center, you develop care, compassion, empathy, conscience, morality. Well, you're going to identify and associate the similarity of consciousness in other beings, such as other humans and other animals. Other tools also exist to accomplish the same result that the uses of altered meditation provide. Etymology. Let's examine some etymological sources for various words to get an accurate understanding of what these words mean. Words are representative of reality. Using a word with its true meaning gives us power through clarity of truth. Using a word with an altered meaning takes power from us through confusion of truth. The obfuscation of symbols and their meaning is a method of obfuscating our understanding of reality, that is to say, mind control. So meditation, circa 1200. Contemplation. There you go. Right from the etymology, what does meditation mean? Contemplation. Does it mean inner feel-good states? Does it mean calming? Does it mean well-being? No. I repeat, no, it does not. No, it does not. Meditation has nothing to do with that. Not true meditation. You are using altered meditation, fools. Unless you're healing, then you're not a fool, and you might need it, and it's useful for you, but then you might get dependent upon it and attached to it because of what it provides for you, the feel-good state. So true meditation is contemplation. From Old French, méditation, which is thought, reflection, and study. Again, it all has to do with thinking. It has nothing to do with going into inner feel-good states and all this bullshit, and astral projection and remote viewing and all this other crap. It has nothing to do with any of that. Those are altered meditations that came after the true meaning. They developed as parts, as I consider it, just like they changed the word. They used this word so that people wouldn't understand what true meditation is and how beneficial thought, reflection, contemplation, and study is in order to meditate, think over, reflect, and consider things, to measure, limit, consider, advise, take appropriate measures. It's about judging reality and doing things in reality. Assessing reality and doing something. Diagnosing. It's not about inner feel-good state. It's not about remote viewing and astral projection and talking with other beings, channeling. All this other crap. That's second altered meditation that came later in order to deceive you with the word meditation into not understanding the true use. You want to evolve consciousness? You want true intelligence? Well, contemplation, thought, reflection, study, think over, reflect, consider, measure. That's what true meditation is. So the cognates, in Greek, medeste, think about. Ruler, Latin modus, measure, manner, moderate. We had to heal, and physician, medicus. So you can see how your thought, reflection, studies, think over, you measure and limit from med. That's where meditation comes from, is to measure and limit. And I've done later etymological work on proportions, words, reality, and proportions, which deal with measurement and ratio. So we have Sanskrit, medeor, I judge, estimate. So as I was saying, you assess, you diagnose, judge. So you take appropriate measures. In the Welsh, medwil, mind, thinking. Old English, metan, to measure. So you're measuring. So even in medere in Latin, to heal, in medicus, physician, where we get medicine and stuff, that comes from the med, the original, from to measure, to limit, and take appropriate measures, because that's what physicians do. They measure your symptoms, and then they take appropriate measures, and then they prescribe healing. So we can see how meditation in this original sense of contemplation, thought, measure, and limits was altered into aspects of healing from medicus. So meditation, because you think of healing when you think of meditation. Yeah, specific forms of healing can be done with altered forms of meditation in inner feel-good states, but the real higher kind of healing is in conscious awareness, with your mind contemplating, thinking, reflecting, introspecting, and studying aspects of reality in yourself. And meaning an act of meditating, continuous calm thought upon some subject is from late 14th century. So right here in the etymology it proves that our current understanding of the word meditation is an altered conventional imposition. It's an imposition from society, from those who altered word meanings, just like how did anarchy get to mean what it doesn't mean? How did occult get to mean what it doesn't mean? Well, just like how psychedelics has been used in a favorable way, people who write words in literature can influence how the word is used. So meditation becomes used in a different way by those who write about it, and then people think about it differently. The same with occult and anarchy. Words can be manipulated by those who use them, and then those who are affected by the input of those words will then adopt those meanings. So the Latin verb had a stronger sense to plan, devise, practice, rehearse, study. It's not about calm thought, continuous calm thought on some subject and meditating internally. That's not what it was about. The symbol middle, mid, med, and meta all relate to the inclusive with when looked at from the common Proto-Indo-European root medi. The other root of the word middle, mid is from Proto-Indo-European medi, well, it's with a y instead of an I, which is related to the center of something or between two things. However, the root for meditation is directly from Proto-Indo-European med, which is not medi or medi, which are predicated from the earlier med. This means first came the meaning of med, then the derivatives thereof. So originally, first is measure, limit, consider, advise, take appropriate measures. And so when you measure something, you can measure things in the middle. And that's where you have later med-e is related to the center of something or the middle, and mid. So when you add the hi or hy to the previous med, well then it takes it even to more specifics into a middle mid or center. But originally med for meditation is not rooted in medi. So it's not rooted in middle. It's rooted in med, which is to measure, limit, consider, advise, take appropriate measures. So sure, when you think of meditation, you have medi, so you could conclude that in etymology the medi root could apply as well. So you could say it's about the middle and center. Meditation can be linked to the center and middle definitions. If something is with something else amid it, then there are relative positions which can be measured. In comparison of measurements between the current state of something and an ideal, disease and impurities can be detected that require healing. So here I'm doing an etymological story breakdown again on meditation. I'm using the key words that I italicized above. So when you measure your current state and the ideal, you recognize where your current state does not match the ideal, or where your subjective perceptions and conceptions do not match the actuality of reality. And then you need to heal your perceptions, or you need to heal the disease and impurities between your current state and the ideal that you ought to be. When something is in the middle center, it is measured as such in a relative position from other things. When you measure and determine a position, you judge that position to be what you think it is, that is to say, the center or middle. In this case, so the center and middle is a judgment of a position between two things that are relative. Meditation can also be linked to middle center, but not as evidently as the etymology for concentrate shows. So in the etymology, you can go to med, and then you see medi, and then you can see how medi relates to middle and center. But concentrate has it explained directly. We can see a connection with measurements, limits, and medical. Physician in Latin is medicus, the physician's diagnose, which is a discernment process much like that required to judge the position of something in relation to other things and determine if it is the midpoint, midway, or middle center. As I mentioned above, you have to measure the symptoms or what's going on in the person, and then take appropriate measures to diagnose. Also note that the later popular convention adopted of act of meditating continuous calm thought upon a subject comes from the 14th century and not from the earliest root sources for the word. It is an altered definition, hence why I call it altered meditation. Contemplation, act of looking at, to gaze attentively, observe, to mark out a space for observation. And we have calm and templum as the roots, and calm is together with, in combination, beside, near, by, or with. And we had med again, that had with. So calm and with and med are related as well, in terms of with, nearby, beside, which is relative position, which is what I was saying with med and with. When you look at when something is with something else, amid it. So with requires two things at minimum. You can't have just one thing that is with. It doesn't have any with because it requires two things. There needs to be a comparative, relative positions. And we have temple, templum, a piece of ground consecrated for the taking of auspices, building of worship of a god. To cut, to place reserved or cut out, to stretch. So to clear space in front of an altar. So we're thinking of the figurative sense of any place regarded as occupied by a divine presence. So you can think of the temple in man, the mind. You need to clear a space in front of the altar. You need to clear space. Place reserved or cut out. So you need to have space in your temple cut out for you to think in order to have the divine presence. You could say the true self, the quintessence, the spirit of man, the temple of man. Allow that grace of the divine presence to be inspired within you so that there's a space for it to be occupied. That's just my own interpretation of the etymology. I'm trying to create a story for it there. So calm templum could be you're with the space in your mind, ready for reception of the breath of God. The spirit of man, the quintessence, etc. And we have insight, inner sight, sight with the eyes of the mind, mental vision, understanding, penetrating understanding into character or hidden nature. So insight, penetrating understanding into character, hidden nature. So you penetrate with insight into human nature instead of the human condition we're currently living. Insight is about inner sight, sight with the eyes of the mind. It's not about sight outside, it's about inside of the mind. Insight. Concentrate, to bring or come to a common center. So you see concentrate, we have calm together or with, and centrum, well, centrum right there is center. We don't have to go through med and medi to understand how med can be understood as middle or the center. In concentrate, it's directly there, right in the etymology. And the sense of mental focus is from 1860. So originally, concentrate in etymology is simply to bring together to the center. So I would say again, with contemplate, to bring to the temple where we've reserved a space to allow our inspirations of the temple of man, the spirit of man, the quintessence, the true self to come in. When you're together with at the center, you can bring things from reality that you concentrate upon to the center of your temple in your mind. So you concentrate in order to contemplate. You concentrate something, and it brings it to the center of your mind that can be maybe can be brought to the temple for analysis as a place reserved for the divine presence in order to verify information as a true self in alignment with truth and morality, to understand what we are concentrating upon, that we're bringing to a common center. Maybe we can also look at it as taking something from reality and bringing it to the subjective reality of our minds, so in bringing it to the center that way, and then figuring it out. Now, there's just different interpretations I'm trying to bring forth using these words. If you bring something to the middle in concentration, you pool it into one place, condense it. It relates to unity in this way. So if you're not in the center previously and you concentrate, that means you're bringing or come to a common center. Or a common center, that means you have to have at least two things for a common center to happen, or else there's no commonality. A commonality is between two things. One thing does not have a commonality because you require two things for a commonality to be. So a common center requires two things. If you have trouble being able to concentrate and think about things, you either have severe right brain imbalance or have physical brain damage of some kind. If you cannot think about something, concentrate on a task, contemplate a subject, then you will not get very far beyond the obvious presentation of reality that keeps us locked into spells and delusions other people have created to control us with. Focus, from the Latin focus, hearth or fireplace, figuratively home or family. Unknown origin, used in post-classical times for fire itself. Point of convergence, possibly as an analogy of the burning point of a lens. So when you have insight, you're bringing the fire of your vision, and you're burning things like the burning point of a lens. So your vision as a lens focuses, right? We're in focus, and relates to fire, hearth, fireplace. You're focusing a point of convergence through a lens, and it's a burning point that's going to pierce through with insight. It's going to pierce through aspects of reality and see what underlies it. Focus is also related to concentrate. Focusing on something brings the attention, the light of focus, onto one thing, to condense the lens of the light and focus it on one point. It is the concentration of attention. So when you focus your insight, you focus your vision, focus your attention, it's the intensity of the light converging into one point, and it's a burning point. You're piercing it with the fury of the introspection, insight, vision. Because there's the expression of the fire in your eyes, or you got a piercing gaze. Well, it's similar to that. You got the piercing gaze, the gaze of the mental vision, the insight. That is the piercing gaze that pierces through as a light, converging on through a lens, and as a burning point, as the fire. Reflection, from back, and flectere, to bend, meaning remark made after turning back one's thought on oneself, is from 1640. So, remark made after turning back one's thoughts on some subject is from later on, from 1640, and that's usually the term we refer to as reflection. But in etymology, it simply means to bend back. So you can bend back on yourself, bend back on other ideas. So you can reflect on yourself, reflect on ideas that you've already brought in, but so you bend back on them and you look back at them again, you reflect on them again. None of the true meanings of these words, of these main words I looked up, are defining what is commonly regarded as, quote, meditation, which is altered meditation. all the words interrelate and are the way I previously understood active, true meditation to be, that is to say, all related to active conscious awareness in thinking, which is contemplation. So, in my search for meditation, I went and looking at all the related words: meditation, contemplation, insight, focus, reflect, concentrate, and you see how they're all really related and they all have to do with thought. Has nothing to do with feel-good states at all. I hope by now, just by the etymology, you should already see how the altered form of meditation is an altered form of meditation, and it has a later convention from the 1640s, I think it said in the etymology. The term was changed in order to affect how people use their minds. They're going to use this other thing called meditation where they feel good about themselves. Yeah, that's really going to help you evolve consciousness and true intelligence. No, not really. Unless you have specific imbalances that specific tool can help. Yes. Otherwise, no. Also in the Bible, the words used for thinking and meditation are the same, used to refer to the same thing of contemplating, reflecting, pondering. This should effectively destroy the false conception that most people have of real meditation being thoughtlessness, which is a basic form of mind control, or other forms of altered, quote, meditation that promote modalities of consciousness contrary to mind and higher order thinking of consciousness. The concept of thoughtlessness that is required is the cessation of thoughts, of inanities, of stupid, useless thoughts. Not of cessation of thoughts in general, like the New Ager I lived with would try to claim. Oh, thoughts, the thoughts, that's, whatever, dominator or ego, your thoughts, your thinking, you gotta feel more, go with your heart, it's all your heart. The mind is a trap, the mind is a prison, thoughts are a prison, you gotta follow your feelings. It's ridiculous what New Agers come up with. They're speaking out of their asshole, as if it was their fucking brain. So the concept of thoughtlessness that is required is the cessation of thoughts of inanities, past and future worries and stresses, gossip and other trivial inconsequential things that prevent accurate awareness of reality, that prevent us from taking things in, and also serve to take up room for more productive thought processes that could be engaged in instead. So yeah, you're attached to feel-good states, to pleasure trap, whereas you could be using conscious awareness and productive thought process to engage in things that actually need to be uncovered, which is reality and parts of yourself. Also recall that heart, mind, thought, and meditation are also related biblically, as I showed in the previous article on mind and heart, left and right brain. The heart, mind, thought, meditation, you can look in the biblical sources, they're all used interchangeably. And there's one, leb, is used specifically for heart, but that relates to mind and thought and other things. It's all a related concept because it's all relating to consciousness and how to evolve consciousness, which is through true meditation of contemplation, reflection, pondering, introspection, insight, focus, thinking. It's not through feeling. You're not going to evolve consciousness through feeling. You use feeling in order to be affected by reality, in order to feel reality as it truly is, to feel the horror and feel the beauty. But you have to clear up your mind in order to not be under emotional mind control, where that feels good and that feels bad. I'm going to avoid what feels bad and I'm going to go for what feels good. The things that feels bad are an indicator of problems within yourselves or problems within reality. And the things that feel good, they're an indicator of what's good, but not the only one, and it's a blind indicator. Because if you only go with what feels good, then eat sugar all day. Let me know how long you last. Eat meat all the time. Let me know how long you live. Eat animal flesh, dead bodies, carcasses, corpses, and cadavers. Yeah, we're so fucking evolved. That's what we eat. We are disgusting pieces of shit. Evil generators. We are generators of evil. We are the greatest capacity for generating evil and the greatest capacity for generating good out of all animals, but we fail miserably to actualize, realize, and individuate ourselves in alignment with our true infinite potential and value. We are failing miserably. Okay, so I got some Hebrew words. Hagig, murmur, complaint, meditation, musing, Hagig. And there's Hagigyon, so a murmuring sound. meditation, then haguth, musing, meditation, haga, imagine, meditate, mutter, ponder, sika, contemplation, meditation, communication, sika again, reflection, meditation, prayer, promelateo, I think that one's Greek, yeah. Promelateo is premeditate, so to meditate before. And then you have the Greek melateo. What's melateo? To take care of, revolve in the mind, imagine, meditate. And you have the Greek melo, to be of interest to, concern, take care. So yeah, you're gonna be concerned with, interested in, and have a care for, self-work, inner work, or learning about truth and morality, etc. You're going to meditate upon it, revolve it in your mind, imagine things about it in order to understand it better. So this relates the terms meditate, thought, reflection, contemplation, ponder, mind, imagine, care, interest of, concern, it matters, measure, limit, consider, etc. So all the words I've been doing have all been relating to figuring out reality. You thought, reflect, contemplate, ponder, imagine, care, interest, concern, it matters. So you're focusing on what matters. Feeling good isn't what matters. Wake up. You need to measure, put limits on what's in reality in order to measure it and understand things in the variability, diversity, and multiplicity of existence, reality, and the universe. Measuring is proportions and ratio. It's what we do all the time. We measure everything. It's part of ratios. It's how the universe is created, is with measurements, ratios, proportions. Meditation in general is about what you focus and pay attention to. There are different methods for focusing on different things to achieve certain ends or goals. The altered state meditation is the passive form I view as the altered form compared to the etymology about the source meaning. And it even says in the etymology that's the altered form that came later. Given the pitfalls of the passive form, it seems it may be a tool to trap non-adept users. So you get suckered into the promises and how it's going to help you and make you feel good. And oh yeah, who doesn't want to feel good, right? There you go. Then you're a non-adept user, and then you get sucked into the pitfalls, into the attachment of the pleasure trap, and all that stuff. The active form is akin to contemplation, reflection, the tools of conscious awareness to more deeply uncover correspondences about reality, expanding the perceptual web or pattern of interconnection. In searching for meditation in the Bible, I found one saying that reflects the trivium of knowledge and understanding internally as either heart meditation, thought, etc. In various translations. Sorry, I'm not reading that sentence very well. I found one saying that reflects the trivium of knowledge and understanding, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom, internally as either heart, meditation, thought, etc. in various translations. So the internal aspects, heart, meditation, and thought. Essentially, meditation and thought are used interchangeably in the Bible, just as heart and mind are, as I previously demonstrated. So in the previous article on heart and mind, left and right brain, how heart and mind are used interchangeably, so is meditation and thought. It's not about feel good, it's about thinking, contemplating. Heart, mind, thought, meditation all relate as we see in the English etymology and biblical definitions of words. This one passage, in different translations, demonstrates how various words can be transliterated. So, in the American Standard Version, it's, "My mouth shall speak wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding." So, meditation, the heart, understanding, wisdom. That's why I mean the trivium. It's talking about three aspects of ourselves. You can look at it as the Trinity of Consciousness aspects. So here, we have meditation is related with thought. In the different versions, I have them in bold. So meditation with thought, or meditation, thought, meditation, meditation. Thought, insights, think, meditation. So it's all related to the same thing. I was just quoting this one part to show the different Bible verses and how they use different words, but it's used to mean the same thing. And it's not feel-good states. Okay. Further analysis on meditation. Etymologically, concentration brings to the center if you are imbalanced and need to bring to the center. Imbalanced how? Imbalanced towards extreme right brain modalities of being that has you in undeveloped analysis and logical processing capabilities, understanding of language and how to read or listen accurately, discernment of reality, how to think properly, etc. Altered forms of quote meditation can bring to the center if you are imbalanced and need to bring it to the center. Imbalanced how? Imbalanced towards extreme left brain modalities of being that are not conducive to freedom, which has you in undeveloped imagination, creativity, care, compassion, empathy, conscience, and morality. In actuality, the real practical form of meditation is cooperation with concentration in a balanced, properly thinking individual that uses the modalities of contemplation and reflection. Meditation equates to concentration in bringing to the middle. Meditation equates to contemplation, which equates to reflection. Hence, meditation and concentration to bring to the middle is all about activating the contemplation and reflection of thought about reality to conceive, understand, discern, judge, and navigate it accurately. Meditation is related to observation just as contemplation and insight are. The passive form of popular altered quote meditation involves observing your thoughts to bring about internal peace, stillness, tranquility, being, awareness, nothingness, etc. The active form of more practical and functional meditation is to observe reality and tune your focus and attention to discerning our collective reality accurately by removing our own cognitive distortions, filters, and conditioning into falsity. The latter form of meditation is as is described in the etymology above, and essentially equates to what contemplation and reflection do. This is the balanced form of meditation. The passive form is more right brain dominant, with the usual focus on cessation of thoughts in favor of stillness, which employs a form of concentration through a negation of thoughts. The popular forms of altered passive quote meditation are not the active practical form of meditation that equates to contemplation and reflection etymologically. The definition of meditation as continuous calm thought upon some subject is from the late 14th century. This is the form many people enjoy and are pleased with the sensations of in this inner feel-good state. This is not the practical kind of meditation in harmony with contemplation and reflection. This 14th century form of meditation is a convention from culture and is about healing your distressed state of mind and body with specific techniques that have been developed. It will calm you and bring peace internally. I would also like to add that aspect speaks about how they want you as a social convention to believe meditation is about feel-good states in order to de-stress your disharmony with reality, because many people, as I've talked about in other articles relating to depression, there's many aspects to depression, but one of them is that we have a disharmony with our perceptions and reality, and also how our expectations of reality do not line up with how reality actually is. So when you engage in feel-good meditation, all you're doing is you're squashing the necessary negative aspects that you feel from reality, so depression or confusion, and instead of actually learning more about reality, you're choosing escapism into an internal subjective reality so that you can feel inner feel-good states. You can enjoy and be pleased with yourself. So you get back into a calming state and relaxation, so you're no longer stressed with reality and how reality is full of shit and how wrong things are. So you can just bypass the need to discern reality correctly, to learn about reality, to engage in proper discernment of reality by escaping to altered meditation and just forgetting about those problems in reality. So you might have subconscious recognition of problems in reality, but since you can't face them in conscious awareness, it creates a disharmony within, which is felt as a form of depression, a disharmony. So you want to get rid of that disharmony. So what you do is you engage in this calming meditation where you feel good and you're pleased. So now instead of the conflict with society, you don't have the conflict with society anymore. You don't feel that tension and pressure, that fracture of the true self with the false self from society. So you don't feel that anymore. So all you have is just a feel-good state that's preventing you from actually facing reality and yourself honestly. So you see how meditation does not help in this way? And it's shown from the etymology. It comes from a convention of society, not from the etymology itself. And then people, well, don't contemplate, don't concentrate, don't reflect, don't introspect. Whatever you do, don't use true meditation. Here's what you're supposed to do for meditation. Go inside and feel good about yourself so that you don't feel the conflicts of reality. You don't feel how disharmonious reality is with how reality should be. You don't feel the disharmony between the true self and the false self. Whatever you do, don't feel reality accurately. Just make yourself feel calm and good inside. And that's what all the Karnists do, like Constantine Dracoslayer. Oh, he needs to go meditate all the time because he has so many... He even says he goes to see a psychologist. Like, geez, learn to do the work yourself, man. So many expressions of consciousness that demonstrate how lost that person is. His attachment to meditation, calling out Mark, because Mark doesn't promote meditation, and he called Mark not a true spiritual leader, because only a true spiritual leader promotes meditation as the most important thing. That's what he actually said, because this guy is a retard. Constantine Dracoslayer, the retard of Facebook. It's unbelievable. 2 days in that group in February 2014, and I saw the imbalances in this, the person who owned that group and the New Age bullshit. He was the king of New Age bullshit, pretending that he understood what New Age bullshit was. It's unbelievable. To continue, it is not expressly for discernment and judging of reality, just as I said. The real practical form of meditation that I equate with contemplation and reflection is about understanding and navigating the reality we live in, here, in the physical domain, on the ground. Overuse of the feel-good sensational type of meditation will rob you of the ability to discern reality correctly. It will become a crutch of constant use because of the feel-good attachment and relief of the stress of the shitty reality we live in. This form of quote meditation also promotes no thought, letting thoughts float by, not actively doing something with them, not analyzing them or anything. So yeah, when you have thoughts about how shitty society is, hey, well, that's stressing you out. Don't think about those. Go into an inner feel-good state and remove your discontent and disharmony with reality, and just don't think about why you even have those feelings or thoughts. Just go into thoughtlessness mode and just let them float by, because they're making you feel bad, and that feeling bad is going to create disease in you. You don't want to be sick, do you? So you got to feel good all the time. That is the New Age deception on feeling good and avoidance of the negative. It absolutely is. This is what's going on in people's minds. Watch the Greg Braden video on Language of the Matrix or something, and there I understood why New Agers believe what they do. It's all thanks to Greg Braden's bullshit. Or he helped bring it out in the video, and other people get infected with this bullshit in other ways. It's a dreamy internal state of bliss for many. This is the passive form of altered quote meditation that focuses on your inner state, often promoting attention, without thought, and awareness without processing. Yeah, that's useful, eh? Awareness but no processing. So, thought, don't use, get knowledge but don't use understanding and don't process it. So just get knowledge and then output it. That's how we function, right, as consciousness beings? No, that's not how it works. That is often good to do indeed, to de-stress and heal, but this inner self, quote, meditation becomes largely about our comfort level in relation to the failure of the authentic, substantive, essential true self to actualize, realize, and individualize the truth and morality into our lives and the world. This frustration is not desired by many, since most are not even aware of the source for it to manifest. It is stress and discomfort of the insanity of our way of living that most people do not see because they do not want to see, and are infatuated and mesmerized by the many distractions, comforts, and convenience that surround them. People use altered, quote, meditation to calm themselves from this internal frustration that they are mostly ignorant of and are not becoming more consciously aware of through real meditation. And why are they not becoming more aware of it? Because they are obsessed with the feel-good, healing mode of, quote, meditation that keeps them focused on the current internal state in themselves, and not the practical meditation that can bring them to uncover the hidden aspects of reality and themselves. Facing the shadow must be done with conscious awareness in contemplation, reflection, and practical true meditation, not the feel-good, de-stressor kind to relieve daily frustration, to go on vision quests, to go to other dimensions, to talk to angels, aliens, or anything else. The work is to be done here on the ground. Get grounded in reality. When people fail to develop the practical meditation, that is to say reflection and contemplation, in favor of the altered, quote, meditation, they will be less able to consciously process information accurately with logic and analysis, hence the awareness without processing. They will fail to diagnose reality correctly. They will not be able to discern and judge reality accurately in order to navigate it to the fullest potential of realizing true freedom and peace. The inner feel-good form of, quote, meditation will keep them from facing reality and themselves honestly, because they are not engaging in the higher order thought functional form of true meditation, contemplation, and reflection. This is the original form of meditation that is about perceiving, conceiving, discerning, understanding, and navigating reality effectively. Focus on the altered forms of meditation, quote, meditation, robs you of the ability to logically process reality correctly because you have not developed that skill set enough. You have chosen to focus daily on your obsession with, quote, meditation of a specific internal sensational feel-good kind, and not the practical functional meditation that allows one to discern reality correctly. This is the active meditation that is itself reflection and contemplation. The active kind of meditation is to heal with thought, with conscious awareness, with critical thinking. The passive form does not use critical thinking. In fact, most of the information provided on how to do altered, quote, meditation is all largely about no thinking. This is the form of meditation 99% of people are aware of, and the form of meditation 99% of users engage in. Very few people recognize the practical, functional, active form of meditation, which is the same as contemplation and reflection. If you are able to contemplate and reflect upon reality in conscious awareness and think critically about it to discern and navigate it correctly, then you do not need the passive form of, quote, meditation. You can do it, but use it to heal yourself when you need to, not to engage in daily feel-good sensations, visions, channeling, contacts, etc. The altered form of, quote, meditation is a tool for specific healing, not for constant engagement, because you simply believe it will bring you towards a, quote, balance of the two modalities of consciousness related to left and right brain functionality, which is what the moron Constantine Dracoslayer believes. Oh, all you need to do is meditate, and that's what you're going to bring into balance. And if you don't meditate, you're never going to have a brain balance. That's what he believes, because he's so attached to it. He hears what Mark Passio says, but doesn't understand what is being said. He's completely obsessed with meditation. Oh, Mark Passio, you're not a true spiritual leader because you don't talk about meditation enough. Meditation is the most important thing. He's a moron. Pure and simple. And then he believes that he's balanced simply because he meditates. That's all he needs to do. And that anyone who doesn't meditate will never be balanced. Even though I've never meditated, I don't want to meditate, and I have way more balance as expressed through my own understanding of reality, my understanding of myself, and the expressions of my consciousness as I express them to other people. The words I use express my consciousness. So anything I say, anything that I write, will express my understanding of reality and hence my level of consciousness. So when you read and hear other people talking bullshit like this other guy does, then you can clearly see where his level of consciousness is. So you blindly believe you're going to bring balance between the two modalities of consciousness related to left and right brain functionality? Well, the opposite will happen. As clearly demonstrated from my experience with people who believe this crap, you will be lying to yourself in self-deception, believing you are balancing your internal capacities towards the proper functionality of the brain to discern reality accurately. But instead you will be bringing yourself into a right brain imbalance and away from accurately being able to consciously process your reality yourself and your frustrations from trying to do right in an insane world. So you're not going to be you're taking yourself away from processing reality accurately by putting yourself into the right brain imbalance of meditation obsession. I do not use meditation every single day. I do use meditation every single day, the practical, functional, active form. That's what I use every day. I contemplate, reflect on reality, and I come up with new information about reality that other people don't talk about, or that I'm not aware they are. I do not have any desire for the passive, quote, altered form, any conflict, contradiction that produces frustration, stress, etc. I will figure out the root causal factors with my conscious, meditative, contemplative, reflective mind and actively overcome my current life imbalance or frustration. The conscious mind, conscious awareness, is where the power to change is at. The power to change is not in internal meditation. It's not there at all. The power to change is in conscious mind, facing reality in ourselves, facing the shadow, demon, darkness, negative, and evil in us and the world. As I said, two people who I've seen to push meditation do it a lot, they don't do that. They don't do it properly. They're still in denial. So, meditation's a big flaw in my book. My articles describing everything. From the etymology, from the Bible, from what everyone uses, the way people think of meditation now is a purely corrupted form to evolve consciousness and will actually keep you in a devolved form of consciousness. It's a big trick. It's a big mass deception that's going on. Pseudo-spirituality. Contemplation, reflection, and active meditation can be likened to a form of daydreaming, as it is creative, imaginative, intuitive, insightful, but also bridges those modalities with logic, analysis, processing, and understanding from the conscious mind to focus on particular aspects of reality. This allows joining, unity, and correspondence towards the larger pattern, right brain, from the many particular attributes, characteristics, properties, aspects, and qualities, left brain, we uncover about our physical reality. The objective world outside of us is brought into the conscious awareness of the subjective internal world of mind. We merge the physical reality into the imaginal mental realm in order to understand it more deeply, with more clarity of higher definition detail from those particular attributes perceived. To merely observe and perceive is not true active meditation, contemplation, or reflection. Observe, but also draw out something from those observations. As you observe and perceive and you don't think about it, true meditation and reflection, contemplation, then you are just letting things go by. Oh, you're just experiencing as it is. Okay. Yeah, you're really going to learn a lot about reality that way. When I was ignorant of what I know now, when I was interested in superpowers, psychic things, remote viewing, astral projection, etc., well, I had this notion that the common notion of meditation was required to ascend or whatnot. But as I evolved consciously of my own effort and hard work, I came to understand it differently. I no longer fall for the New Agey pseudo-spiritual conceptions of ascension or its alleged required component of altered, quote, meditation. Real, practical, functional, active meditation is about seeing reality as it is. This is done with conscious awareness to process the information, data collection from reality. Grammar, input, stimulus, knowledge. Conscious awareness is required along every step of the process. Logic, processing, thinking, understanding. So the data collection was grammar, input, stimulus, knowledge, and the processing of the conscious awareness is logic, processing, thinking, and understanding are in conscious awareness domain. This doesn't happen in altered states of meditation. No, you need conscious awareness. Rhetoric, output, response, wisdom are in the conscious awareness as well. It comes from conscious awareness and then you manifest externally. Insights and intuition are very helpful, but they function with less analysis and more of a conglomerate amalgamation, bigger picture, wider view, flash of inspiration, a grasp at something in the darkness that needs further processing to shed light upon. To really understand that flash, that insight of intuition, you need conscious awareness to process it. The flash of insight or intuition itself is based on the available data and understanding you have developed in conscious awareness anyways. Conscious awareness is the place to develop and apply solutions, to develop intelligence and evolve consciousness. I have healing to do that could possibly benefit from passive forms of meditation. I do not deny that the passive meditation can have benefits. I've already said that it has a specific purpose in healing. I am more talking about primary meditation as an act of contemplation and reflection as rooted in its original meaning in etymology. And etymology is the study of, or a speaking of, the true sense, the true, real, actual meaning of words. Analysis of a word to find its true origin, the study of a true sense of a word. So you want to learn what a true word really means, go into the etymology. That's what I just did with meditation. I'm showing you exclusively in history, in the development of words, with logic, purely based in reality, what meditation really is, the true form of meditation, and not this, as shown in etymology, altered form from the 14th century to change how people process reality and keep them trapped into feel-good states so that they don't consciously process the negative states and the fracture, the conflict, and the pressure they have between the authentic, examined true self compared to the false self they've been conditioned with into living in society and perpetuating falsity and immorality and evil. The meditation I engage in is as described by the existing historical roots in etymology and corresponds with the related meanings from the Bible. The modern polarized, altered form of, quote, meditation is not rooted in etymology to see the true meaning of the word as it was invented. Active meditation is primary, and the altered forms are secondary, quote, meditation practices that vary in use and purpose. Is altered meditation the, quote, number one thing, like that moron on Facebook said? Some people make claims such as you must meditate to balance the left and right brain modalities. As I have shown, no, you don't. There are some other big claims made about altered, quote, meditation. Meditation, the doorway to higher consciousness. Well, the way I'm describing it, yes, real meditation. Altered meditation, which everyone else is talking about, no, that's not the doorway to higher consciousness. If you want to meditate in the altered form that is not related to etymology, go ahead. I do not see the need to. I have reached my understandings that meditators do without the altered form of meditation they engage in. The difference is they may also engage in the primary active meditation of the conscious mind while in the secondary meditative state. A quote, meditative state. And they think this is more effective than simply the primary form in active consciousness, conscious awareness, in active conscious awareness. So they think, oh yeah, I'm going to use active meditation of the conscious mind while in the secondary meditative feel-good state, and they think that's better than just the active meditation in the conscious mind, in conscious awareness. Okay, if you want to believe that, then go ahead and believe that. Why do you continue to insist you need altered lotus position, closed-eyed, quote, meditation? I reached levels of higher consciousness without altered, quote, meditation that meditators I know have not reached. So they meditate, I don't, but I'm at a higher level of consciousness than they are. How does that happen? Oh, well, maybe because meditation is an actual crutch and it's preventing you from evolving consciousness. Yeah, you ever think of that? No, you haven't, because you're too attached to it to look at yourself and how you're failing and how meditation fails you. So, why the ultimate insistence on this passive modality by some people? What is not mentioned is the potential for attachment to altered, quote, meditation itself despite detachment from illusions. Also, why would you first engage in passive secondary altered meditation that has you in feel-good high and then activate the primary focused attentive conscious mind to contemplate when you can simply go into contemplation, reflection, active meditation from the alert conscious mind and not need the altered feel-good state? It seems it can act as a distraction, especially for newbies who are learning it. Why mix in an induced emotional, sensational inner state when I am trying to uncover more about reality and myself? All the conceptions derived in contemplation using simple, active meditation or combining the active and passive together is a correlation of existing data sets within your specific consciousness. New connections can indeed be created, but they are based on pre-existing ones. It is progressive, graduating in degrees and levels. You don't simply get the higher level understandings if you don't have the prerequisites that are built up to that understanding. The altered form of, quote, meditation adds another layer of emotion and feeling to the equation that is not required, but does have other usefulness and benefits. If you need to use the altered form with its benefits, then go ahead. This would include emotional healing, stress, and other issues, but existing capabilities to contemplate is not dependent on altered forms of, quote, meditation. The altered form of meditation can help or hinder that process. It is helpful when you have trouble with your mind. If you have too many thoughts in your mind that are not about the things you want to be working on, you can develop concentration capabilities yourself or induce the internal altered, quote, meditative state to help you concentrate on certain things and gain more clarity, since you lack this ability in the normal conscious awareness. But if you have the ability in the normal conscious awareness to concentrate on things, then why would you need to go to an internal state in order to concentrate on things more effectively if you can already do it effectively from conscious awareness? You don't need to meditate. If you don't need to, if you can do things properly in your conscious awareness, then do them there. Other people do not have this issue and can concentrate on specifics, contemplate about them, imagine things, create new connections, etc., without going into an altered internal state. It is to be used for the specific purposes that it can help with. The help provided can create conceptual dependence, attachment, on this altered inner state form of, quote, meditation, having one believe they need to continually engage in it in order to achieve higher states of consciousness. It becomes a crutch to replace their active conscious mind's ability to do it without the accompanying stillness and internal state of help, the internal state to help them. Closing the eyes, clearing the mind can be very helpful to concentrate and focus on specifics when you lack the ability to focus on metaphysical things while in a normal active conscious awareness. You cannot deal with the interference of regular life. If you cannot deal with the interference of regular life, either in thought or emotion, then the secondary form can help you deal with that. If you can already deal with it, then the secondary form is not as helpful, but can still be helpful for other things if you require it. I can listen clearly with music playing, video, etc., but not all distraction granted. This has been shown in scientific research recently to explain why some people are able to study and do their homework, possibly better, I don't recall, while there was ambient noise in the background. But I've also read a recent study recently in the past 2 weeks on how shifting our attention to multiple things, multitasking, can be an impediment. So maybe just the background noise, if you're not paying attention to it and you're focusing on the work you need to do, then maybe the background noise, you're not paying attention to it, but it's assisting in some way. Maybe it's hindering you, Maybe it's distracting you with the multiple sources of input, so it's a multitasking, and it provides you with a dopamine release and feel-good state of having a new stimulus all the time. So you're reading and listening to music. So that's just related to the recent article that I read. But anyways, just mentioning that. So I would see it as possibly it can help. I remember when I was younger, and even now, all day I have the radio on. Although when you have a visual thing going on, if you have a movie playing, that can be more of a distraction than simply audio, radio, background music. So anyways, I did my schooling this way as well. Many secondary, closed eyes, meditators I have met have not reached the levels of understanding I have, even though this form of meditation, of quote meditation, they allege, allows them to tune into the natural vibration of nature, which is bullshit. But it is all belief about their self-image and how great and grand this altered form of quote meditation really is, while it actually is keeping them from facing greater truths, which I presume is due to its altered internal feeling state and other capacities to have quote visions and see other dimensions, realms, etc. This ability gets confused with actual evolution in our own consciousness, with real intelligence, with real psychological shadow work. The secondary internal state of quote meditation seems to pull people away from this higher order purpose to grow, evolve, and better ourselves with our conscious mind in the physical reality we exist in. They prefer the escapism of the relaxation, feelings, calmness, stillness, listening to their soul, visions, astral travel, remote viewing, seeing other beings, going to other dimensions and realms, etc. They do not really want to do the hard work that is required by the conscious awareness in this reality, in active, practical, functional, primary meditation, contemplation, and reflection. That primary meditation is the real way to evolve consciousness, intelligence, and work on ourselves, internally, psychologically, etc. The secondary form can help to assist the primary form. The conception of the word meditation can be viewed in the dichotomy of etymological meaning versus conventional meaning. The etymology reveals the true meaning of a word as it was created, and the convention is an imposition from a later period that alters the meaning in some way. The popular convention from society is the closed eyes, altered internal state, calmness, feel-good, relaxation, etc., that has the word, quote, meditation attached to it by conventional imposition. The etymological definition is the real, active, practical, functional, primary form of meditation that we all engage in every day to varying degrees of activity and intensity. The former has its specific uses to help us, while the latter is an inherent part of being a human being with higher order consciousness as part of our default conscious capabilities. The more we use and develop the latter active kind, the more powerful our consciousness becomes, our minds and hearts develop. The active primary meditation can also be developed with the help of the secondary altered form of quote meditation. The second form can be called something else other than meditation to make the distinction clear, but double quotes will suffice to distinguish them. This is an example of what meditators purport for their form of quote meditation, and make it sound like it is required to achieve the things they propose. If you want this, then you have to meditate. So here's the quote. The mind must be kept totally receptive, because we can't think our way into deep meditation, nor indeed can you think your way to true guidance and inspiration. You can only receive wisdom, you cannot concoct it. Have you ever heard such a load of horseshit? Such a load of horseshit. Oh, you can't think your way to guidance and inspiration. No. You can only receive wisdom. You can't think your way to wisdom. No, it's not like that's what I've done. The wisdom of right action, what to do rightly in the world. No, it's not like, yeah, I've never meditated before, so there's no possible way I can be where I am. Things like this are just so asinine. And I would say these people who write this stuff aren't in wisdom. They don't have wisdom developed in their life. Tell me, what do you know about veganism? What do you know about the government, authority, enslavement on this planet? Do you know about slavery and evil to great degrees of depth required to change things? No? That's what I thought. You're ignorant. This demonstrates the common popular promotion and overemphasis on the importance of altered inner state, quote, meditation. Thinking is portrayed as limited and constricting to the evolution of higher consciousness. They fail to understand the true meaning of the word as derived from historical uses and etymology. Thinking is the first important tool to evolve consciousness. Thought is the originating emanative generative essence for consciousness that progresses to other expressions such as emotions and actions. Thinking is the form of contemplation, reflection, and true meditation. Thinking in the form of contemplation, reflection, and true meditation will get you to uncover things from pattern recognition, correspondence, analogy, etc. I have gained much wisdom, have been inspired, and have inspired conceptions that have guided and realigned myself with truth in a much clearer capacity with thought than people I have met who do altered, quote, meditation. Many people do, quote, meditate and are on a great path and are doing better than me, but they aren't big-time pushers of, quote, meditation either. They use it for their particular needs and put it away afterwards. They engage in the active conscious awareness of the normal state of meditation, open eyes to uncover the truth more. There are big claims made that only meditation can provide for you. I have reached many of the understandings that they claim are only possible with their specific practice. I do not take, quote, meditation pushers seriously, as their claims are proven false to my own experience and abilities, as well as the etymology. Use it if you want. Don't push it as a required component to evolve consciousness. Do you know what is required? Thinking, mind. Altered, quote, meditation is not. If all these claims made by the, quote, meditation pushers were true, I would not be where I am. So again, why are they pushing it? It's part of an agenda to confuse people without them knowing they are confused. With them actually thinking, the opposite will happen. That clarity will automatically come to them, and away they go into, quote, meditation, carried off into the feel-good modality, and not developing their conscious mind, which is more important. Quote, meditation pushers insist on, quote, meditation as being required because they believe it is, since they seem to have evolved consciousness, or at least believe they have, with the use of altered, quote, meditation, and not independently of it, and now believe their form of, quote, meditation is required. So simply because they used it and they've managed to evolve consciousness with it, they think that they couldn't have evolved consciousness without meditation. Quote, meditation does not guarantee confusion, but it doesn't guarantee clarity. The confusion arises in the failure to develop the active mind, conscious awareness to uncover more of reality and truth as a result of the attachment to the various things altered meditation brings. Then instead of focusing on truth, morality, evolving consciousness, and true intelligence, people get sucked into the altered internal state of being and don't move very far in the correction of cognitive distortions that is achieved with the conscious awareness of reality developed in thought and contemplation. As I said earlier, this primary form of true meditation, thought, contemplation, reflection, etc., can be done in the secondary form of altered meditation, but is not required. This is the problem with sayings like, quote, meditation, the doorway to higher consciousness. People automatically associate meditation with the popular secondary altered form and not the primary form of greater significance, which will bring you to higher consciousness. In addition to this confusion, the concept of higher consciousness is also projected onto the visions and travels into other alleged, quote, higher realms and dimensions. So that's not at all what higher consciousness is about. It's not about other realms and dimensions that you perceive to be higher. No. This creates a strong correspondence between altered, quote, meditations into, quote, higher realms being the state of, quote, higher consciousness, or the way towards it through knowledge of other dimensions which are viewed as higher, or the beings which are viewed as higher. So all these things, the beings and the dimensions that you view as higher, that you believe are higher, well, you associate this with higher consciousness. So hence, meditation brings you to higher consciousness because it brings you to an awareness of these alleged higher dimensions and higher beings. Quote, journeying to other planes and realms is equated with higher states of consciousness. Is that increasing conscious awareness of reality? No. The end result of engaging in this, quote, journeying often is running away to another realm and not learning and doing what needs to be done here on the ground. It is fantasy land living. Higher consciousness comes with greater interconnectedness and pattern recognition in understanding the reality we live in, and ourselves here as well. This allows us to realize, actualize, and individualize our potential and value in creating the true freedom and peace we all deeply yearn to have. The process of dissociation and disassembly of the ego personality identity construct can be done through alchemy and conscious awareness of true active meditation instead of the quote meditative internal realization of awareness as self, the quote I, the greater self. This is the source of I-ness here as the awareness. This awareness can be achieved without secondary quote meditation, and the inauthentic false self of appearances, the mask and persona of the ego personality identity construct, can be dissociated and detached from in order to break it down from all the false ways of living that prevents our potential and value from realizing the true freedom and peace we want. To become, do, embody, exemplify, and live truth, love, good, right, morality, natural law, true self, higher will, etc. It's to become that. So how could I have come to know and understand this without secondary altered, quote, meditation? Because, as I have been explaining, it is not required to attain higher levels of consciousness, to evolve consciousness. This is the realization I have been expressing throughout my work since December 2013. I didn't have all the information on altered forms of meditation, of quote, meditation that I currently have, that some altered, quote, meditation practices were doing the same thing in their own way that I have done in my own way. Some people seem to go into altered, quote, meditation practices for a long time and deeply. I view this as a trap, especially relating to the feel-good pleasure trap. I have expressed what the word meditation truly means, so then, why has the word had its meaning changed and different processes applied to alter its original use? Why is this always done to things that help us truly evolve, like meditation, trivium, occult, anarchy? The words are altered in order to prevent us from actualizing and realizing ourselves, where the good aspects of freeing oneself is replaced with aspects of control and manipulation. As I've been explaining, the altered form of meditation is largely used as an escapism tool to escape the fracture and recognition subconsciously of the tension and pressure in that fracture between the true self and the false self, and how society isn't right. It just makes you escape into feel-good states. It keeps you under control and manipulated. So you got to know how to use that inner state properly, or else you're going to get suckered into false pathways. The conscious mind can be manipulated away from proper thought, contemplation, reflection, and true meditation. The altered form of, quote, meditation is not without its pitfalls and negative consequences to misuse. The modern trivium method teachings are the modern trivium teachings are the classical trivium of classical education in Western society that teaches how to be a good manipulator and conformist to the existing social construct. Altered, quote, meditation is used as a passive tool of inner emotional and energy self-control, stillness, calming, relaxation, feeling good, visions, remote viewing, astral travel, or other possible escapist modalities people become attached to. Neither the current classical trivium itself nor the altered, quote, meditation itself progress true evolution in consciousness towards psychological understanding and empowerment. The original trivium method, not the classical trivium, and the original true active meditation, not the altered form, are the true methods for evolving consciousness. The hidden manipulators have hijacked and replaced original things with proxies as the true form to confuse the playing ground. Goodness and morality, duty and privilege of moral living and natural law is replaced with the man-made legal system, the trivium of freedom, true contemplative, reflective, meditative thought for passivity and pleasure trap confusion. Anarchy as chaos, occult as evil. We need to reevaluate what tools we are given and use them with greater purpose than the conditioned convention, meaning, and use. The conception and use of meditation most people have is that of overt, popular meditation, and not the occulted true meditation, contemplation, reflection, pondering, etc., that is subtly used in their daily lives and requires more development. Thoughtlessness is promoted as a form of mind control, knowingly or not, by those pushing the thoughtlessness concept. So, am I wrong in my description of meditation as derived from etymology? No, it comes from etymology. Everyone else in the world who wants to use meditation to mean something else other than is expressly defined in its etymological source is using the word incorrectly. I have accurately defined the word meditation. All those who use the word meditation devoid of its etymological source are using the conventional imposition of the word as derived later by culture and applied to the passive altered form of, quote, meditation that supplanted the intelligent form that truly evolves consciousness. So just like everyone who uses the word anarchy wrong and uses the word occult wrong, well, everyone's using the word meditation wrong. Next section, thought. As I already mentioned with regard to the alleged greatness of thoughtlessness, here's a quote from one of my articles. Thinking is the first important tool to evolve consciousness. Thought is the originating causal, emanative, generative essence for consciousness that progresses to other expressions such as emotions and actions. Thinking in the form of contemplation, reflection, and true meditation will get you to uncover things from pattern recognition, correspondence, analogy, etc. Well, that's what I had already mentioned above, so I'm just re-quoting it for this section on thought. Thought is to be productive and purposeful in the discovery of quality meaning about our reality, not superficial trivialities. Thought is like talking to ourselves. The Greek word for I meditate is phrasome, or phrasomei. I don't know how to pronounce Greek properly, which means I speak to myself. You meditate, you speak to yourself. That's having an internal dialogue. So also the Greek logos pertains to speech and reason. So you speak to yourself, logos, speech and reason. You meditate, speak to yourself, you reason with yourself. So we go to logos, word, speech, discourse, from the Proto-Indo-European leg, which is to collect. So you're collecting things. So speech and reason of logos, you speak to yourself, reason to yourself, meditate to yourself, you're collecting things in yourself and in reality, but you're bringing it in yourself and you're collecting it within. Now we have another Wiktionary. So logos, speech, oration, discourse, quote, story, study, ratio, word, calculation, and reason. So you see that ratio is tied to logos because you're collecting. So when you're measuring, you're collecting stuff too. Is logos simply speech? No, it is speech with reason. Why is the word logic rooted in logos? Logos is directly related with a specific form of speech, the speech of truth as expressed by the law of logic, i.e. the ability to reason. Reason does not impress upon us falsity, but truth instead, the truth from non-contradictory thinking. Contradictory false premises or propositions would not be considered reason. Hence, reason is about truth. And so is logos, about the reasoning to use logic to express speech of truth, not falsity and lies, deceptions, manipulations. So I'm just explaining how inherently the word logos has to do with truth. Reason has to do with truth. You're not going to use reason to express falsity and get people to accept falsity, although you can, but that's not its purpose. Just like logic is to express truth, and you can use it and trick people with bad logic and convince them of a lie. So we have reason here, to reckon, to think, and reason count. And I have more. I redid the etymology on this in recent work on tracing reality, or words, reality, and proportions. In some other work, you can get more of an etymology on reason and stuff. I think, unless I only made it here. But I think I brought it elsewhere as well. The reason we do things, what matters, is the motive and cause for our actions. Because I have in reason, there's reckoning, understanding, motive, cause, reckon, think, reason, count. So the reason we do things, what matters, right? We do things what matters, the desire, the care, things that matters. Well, that's the reason we do things, and it's the motive, the cause for our actions, for creating into the world. God is referred to as the Logos. We can see why. Motive, cause, understanding, reckoning, speech, word, calculation, collect, logic. Logos is the speech of truth, which is what Logos of God is supposed to represent as well, truth. When we reason, use logic, we require the collection of at least two things to perform some mental calculation upon: a judgment, analysis, diagnosis, assessment, evaluation, etc. This is the power in thought through contemplation. Remember, concentrate and contemplate. We're talking about measuring things. It's in the word meditate. This is the power in thought through contemplation, reflection, true meditation, pondering, etc. Thoughts relate to mind, mental, and so we can see a link between the law of mentalism and God in another way with logos and logos. How mind creates things and stuff, just symbolic representations of the words. I'm tying them all together to demonstrate how true meditation and pondering, when you collect things and think about them, you're going to understand more about reality. Thoughtlessness is not the solution to the reality we live in here on the ground. Without internal dialogue, you go crazy. But often people think talking to yourself means you are crazy, and so this creates a stigma. So they're making themselves dumb by not thinking, because that's what's promoted in things like there's a guy who did mind control and mindfulness, a 3-part thing, and he was all talking about, mindful and remove those thoughts. You have 50,000 thoughts a day. Yeah, well, the point is to remove the bullshit ones and keep the good ones, so you can keep thinking about reality and not become a thoughtless moron, which is most of the New Agers are. Even the New Age and New Thought pseudo-spiritual groups and some altered, quote, meditation practices promote the cessation of thoughts and internal dialogue to quiet the mind in the perfect stillness of pure awareness, to reach source, feel oneness, etc. That's not going to help you evolve consciousness. Are you going to be processing reality? No. Therefore, you're not evolving consciousness. The truth behind the quiet the mind axiom is all about quieting the mind from useless chatter and superficial thoughts, worrying about the future and obsession and becoming obsessing and becoming depressed over the past. It's also the attraction and the attachment to the perfect stillness, pure awareness, to reach source and feel oneness. People just want to keep going back to that because it makes them feel good. To continue, that is the truth and purpose, to quiet the mind. After that junk is removed, then you can engage the mind in full use for purposeful tasks, such as evolving consciousness and ending evil. People misunderstand these axioms, and then they think no thought, no mind is the solution towards so-called spirituality, enlightenment, illumination, etc. They get told something and then they just buy into it, hook, line, and sinker, because whatever they were told infatuated them and fooled them into feel-good states, and then they accepted the information along with that feel-good emotional mind control deception, and it was uncritically accepted into their mind. Instead of internal dialogue that is encouraged and developed, we then immerse ourselves into the social culture, activities, and distractions of entertainment to integrate into cohesive relational bonds with others to promote our social success. This provides us with an external reference for the construction of the relationship based on some aspect of the social living we have constructed, rather than it being on commonality of metaphysical substance like truth and morality. We have churches and the rituals to divert our attention from inner dialogue and inner work, self-discovery, self-realization. There are many social constructs that keep us from deeper connection to truth and morality, from our true self. The inner dialogue is ongoing, but we are encouraged to do external things to remove our time, attention, and focus from self-development and self-work. Keep focusing on the external things, the effects, and never focus on the root causal factors. And so we're hoodwinked again. Next section, psychological understanding of true intelligence are largely untouched by meditation. Understanding psychological issues is absent in meditation. A primary problem with meditation as a path to spiritual maturity is that it doesn't address the assumptions and perspectives the person has that are creating realities that are counterproductive and frustrating. Masters in Buddhist practice such as Jack Kornfield have acknowledged that even if someone is successful in having a consistent meditation regime, it is not enough to address the issues that make people prisoners of their childhood. The greater development of true intelligence and psychological understanding through real inner work of facing the shadow and evil in us are untouched by passive altered, quote, meditation alone that people are familiar with. They use it for stillness, calmness, relaxation, feel-good, oneness, visions, traveling to other realms, etc. Users of altered, quote, meditation that I recognize are not, quote, balanced, don't go anywhere towards more morality, towards facing the truth honestly, and developing true care to do no harm. Yet they cling to altered, quote, meditation as though it was the best solution in their lives, or very important in their daily routine, or some other importance about it being so helpful to them and may be even required for everyone else to do. They do not understand psychology deeply enough, nor are they using their time to develop and evolve consciousness towards true intelligence and harmony with natural law. Passive, absent from reality, altered, quote, meditation is not the way to pattern recognition and correspondence, although it can be a part of the internal, quote, meditative process. It is not automatic and engaged by everyone. Conscious awareness of various aspects of reality simultaneously, complex thought, abstraction is how we correspond reality and evolve consciousness in greater degrees. Concentration on one thing in so-called, quote, meditation is not the way, but free-flowing interconnection and correlation between various thoughts and ideas is required, a structured thinking to interconnect and process the various components. Maybe for other people who did not have this processing rigor developed, the calming form of, quote, meditation helped them get rid of the useless clutter of less meaningful thoughts. But if you already don't have this issue, then you don't need, quote, meditation for that. If you already use thought for navigation of reality rather than superfluous thinking, then you don't need to get rid of those crap thoughts with meditation either. Altered, quote, meditation is a tool that can be effective when needed. If you don't need it to do what it does, then you don't need it. The meditation I use is actually backed up by etymology. The meditation most other people use is an altered form that puts you into altered internal states. I refer to the original meaning as the true meditation. This is not to say that if you, quote, meditate, you will not be intelligent. Altered, quote, meditation does not ensure intelligence, is what this comes down to, and it may hinder its development when not used correctly. The active, open eyes, contemplation, reflection form of true meditation is more direct and practical in evolving consciousness and doing the inner psychological work. The, quote, meditation for an undisciplined mind is not required if your conscious mind is already disciplined and capable of dealing with thoughts effectively. The closed eyes, inner altered meditation and awareness of I-awareness being eternal oneness is sensed, intuited, known through this inner journeying state of sensing. This understanding and awareness can also be accomplished with open eyes in thinking, contemplating, reflecting, and meditating upon the question, who are you? The altered meditative state can sense and feel the awareness of, quote, I, and oneness more deeply and fully in the calmness and stillness. Once this is sensed and known, mission accomplished. So you know it there, you know the truth, you've achieved it, okay, well then you don't need to go back to that state and keep bathing in the bliss of the oneness. That's a feel-good attachment. The secondary form of, quote, meditation would only be required for healing purposes and not for this emergence into oneness over and over. The various sensations and feelings of relaxation, calmness, stillness, oneness, etc. can become an impediment to self-discovery and self-realization of our actualized self in the real world, and thereby becoming a detrimental attachment. I am weary of altered meditation for this reason the most. It can become a trap. You can experience the oneness and visions with DMT-based substances. Some people get attached to that and want to continually revisit this realm, this plane domain of awareness. This trap happens in entheogen experiences and in altered meditation experiences. People get hooked on it. It is related to the pleasure trap. Some people promote blissful living, stillness and calmness, love and light subjectivity as the enlightenment path. This is a false path into the pleasure trap of feel-good distractions that prevent conscious awareness of reality. I am not anti-meditation, I am anti-altered meditation abuse and misuse. I am against the claim that this form of meditation is required to evolve higher consciousness. I am against the claims that popular meditation promotes, such as the removal of thoughts, thinking, just observing them, no mind, etc., as they are bastardized forms of the practice to quiet the mind from the interference of daily life in order to think properly. I am very much pro-first order meditation of active conscious awareness. I am pro-secondary meditation for the specific modalities it can provide those who require or think they need it to help them. I am not interested in the altered state it provides. I am not interested in the altered states it provides, though. Those are distractions to me. I view the secondary altered form as a useful step in gaining knowledge of higher self-oneness in order to promote the growth of true care, compassion, empathy, conscience, and morality, which can be done without altered meditation. Other than that, the other aspects do not interest me. I have developed these capacities in me through my own willful conscious awareness and actualized my way of living to greater degrees of alignment with these values than others who do meditate and promote how allegedly great and needed it is to evolve consciousness. They have fallen into right brain imbalanced modalities and are trapped in the attachment to altered meditation and cannot see how it is holding them back from true self-discovery, self-knowledge, self-realization, and self-actualization in this reality that counts here on the ground. There are valid applications for altered meditation, but it's not all that is going on. Meaning that meditation is not what it's all about. It's not all that's going on. The point of it all is to understand the self better through that specific methodology of healing, and then get on the battlefield into the spiritual war on the ground, not another planet or reality or somewhere or whatever else escapism. What hangs in the balance is human freedom and evolution, or our enslavement and destruction. If that isn't what is ultimately important, then what is? Meditation? No. Morality and truth are the most important things. That is the real capital. Then I have a left and right brain balance, addendum relating to meditation. Meditation in the altered form is helpful to balance out extreme cold, left brain dominator master consciousness. This form of meditation can help you expand your identification from self to others and expand your empathy, compassion, and care for other beings, maybe, potentially. Potentially. Like I said, potentially, because the guy on Facebook, he hasn't done it. Another person I know personally, they meditate every day. Have they become more moral? No. They still don't care about the animals. They're not changing themselves. So that's it. It helps take you away from that predator-dominator psychopathy of dominating other animals. If you're still not facing the meditation to help you expand your compassion, care, empathy, and conscience and morality, then obviously you're not using your altered form of meditation correctly. It's still keeping you in the dominator master consciousness, whereby you don't care about the animals. Right, Constantine Draco Slayer, big moron of Facebook? The biggest meditative moron I've ever met in my life. He doesn't even use meditation properly. He uses it for all the escapism means. Astral travel and contact with beings and channeling, at least he claims. And he's not using it for things that actually matter. He's not using it to evolve, expand empathy, compassion, and care. It's ridiculous. So it is not guaranteed, as some meditators I know of are not vegan and lack true care for truth and morality. If you are not stuck in dominator master think, then altered meditation won't be as useful to you, and its purpose to bring you to the middle is not required as much. And like I just said, if you're not stuck in dominator thinking, master think, but even if you are stuck in dominator master think and you do meditation, it's not even going to guarantee to get you to more empathy, compassion, and care for other beings. As is demonstrated by the two people I know who meditate and promote it, and they're not going anywhere. If you already removed yourself from extreme imbalance, you don't need meditation to remove you from extreme imbalance. Maybe it could help you with other things, emotionally, stress, etc., but not for severe imbalances if you are already out of them. Altered quote meditation is for left brain chronic imbalances. It is to bring to the middle. The middle mode is contemplation and reflection, which are essentially the same thing, which is also a form of meditation, the true act of meditation as etymologically described. Most people want to classify quote meditation into one particular categorization of the typical lotus position or some reference to yoga, relaxation, getting rid of negativity and tension in us, calming the mind, oneness, etc. But the most productive form of meditation is also found in reflection and contemplation. Real meditation is about uncovering reality, not another reality. Some forms of quote meditation help to heal imbalances or trauma, etc. They can be used to heal. They provide sensory experiences and feel good. This form has its use, but it is not required to uncover the reality we live in. Those who overemphasize the use of this latter form of meditation are in a form of infatuation due to the feel-good attachment it provides them with. They do not understand the original true meditation meaning and continue to express a necessity for their specific form of quote meditation. This is a right brain imbalance, infatuation with the feelings, visions, etc., while thinking they are quote balanced, while expressing the inability to use logic correctly to contradict their own claims. If you are out of extreme imbalance of the left brain, then you do not need the popularized passive quote meditation modality. If you are in this extreme chronic left brain dominator physical living, then the use of meditation can be beneficial, but it is also not required to bring yourself to balance. If you are already in a state of relative balance outside of either extreme falsity, then you don't need to use meditation to help bring you out of the left side. You are already out. The last section, thought and emotion. One thing I completely forgot to include in the previous left and right brain article was the link between thought and emotion. Emotion equals thought plus meaning, expressed as feeling. So I think I mentioned that in passing, but I didn't include the infographic or more detail in the previous article. So emotion equals thought plus meaning, expressed as feeling. So emotion is expressed as a feeling, but it comes from thought and meaning. Reality is affected in you, is input, and it has an effect on you. Your thoughts process it, you derive meaning, and from that you feel something, and this is the emotion. It has a thought and a meaning. The emotion is only experienced with consciousness as the quote mind and thought to process the meaning of the feeling. You cannot have emotion without thought, despite all the right brain imbalanced people claiming otherwise, or New Agers or whoever else. Thought is encoded information. Emotion is a response to what that information means. The body's response to that meaning is expressed through the physical sensation of feeling. So the information from reality, you think about it, there's a processing of it as a meaning, and then that meaning is expressed as a physiological response in the body, as a sensation of feeling. So that's what your emotion is what produces the feeling. The emotion is the thought and the meaning that produces that feeling. And there's the infographic that I've shown in Consciousness and the Brain presentation, where feeling and thinking reciprocate, they feed back before we respond. Both thought and emotion as the meaning of feeling from the input stimulus response of reality are required in order to produce actions. This is why the trinity of consciousness has thought, emotion, and action, with thought and emotion having an internal feedback loop between each other until the proper effective motivational drive gets us moving to accomplish what we care to do. If the claim of balancing the left and right brain leads to a more evolved consciousness, and the altered meditation is required to do this, then those who quote meditate, should be able to demonstrate their real-world consciousness capacities to understand reality better than those who don't quote meditate, since those that do quote meditate should have a quote balanced brain compared to others who don't quote meditate and don't have quote balanced brains. So they should be already, your balanced brain is expressible through your understanding of reality and through your level of consciousness. So you're claiming meditation helps you? Well, I'll talk and you'll talk, and then we'll see who has a higher level of consciousness. If you're a meditation obsessed person, well, let me know, and I bet you I can describe more of reality more accurately than you can. This falls on its face when you do an evaluation of the expressions of consciousness from various people who push, quote, meditation, and those who don't. People blinded by, quote, meditation show me their inability to perceive, conceive, understand, and navigate reality correctly, while those who do use it properly are doing very well in the alert, active, grounded reality of understanding truth and morality properly, just as those who don't use altered meditation are also capable of aligning themselves with truth and morality. That's the end of that article. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you for listening. Hope it wasn't too long. It was long for me to read, but I figured I had to do the audio. So thank you again for your time and attention. Have a nice day. Take care. Peace.